Inside a ruined chamber, Danqing lay gravely wounded, dragging himself through a pool of blood. His body trembled as he cried out in despair, "Disciple! Save me! Save me! I can't hold on much longer." Hearing his voice, the two young attendants outside immediately rushed in, flinging open the door. Alarmed, they shouted, "Immortal Master!" One of them asked in panic, "How are you, Master?" Danqing, his whole body weak and voice trembling, quickly gasped, "Call Zhongshan, save me!" But before he could finish, he suddenly spat out a jet of blood. It splattered across the two boys, causing them to recoil in terror. "Ah! Ah!" they screamed in fear, "Immortal Master!" Meanwhile, elsewhere, the name Danqing was written in bold strokes on a notebook. A voice muttered softly, "5 days now." The one speaking was Hanju. Sitting in a dark corner with his back to the light, he had been cursing someone for 5 days straight. That his lifespan was dwindling, Hanju knew he must keep track of the days carefully. So long as it did not exceed 5 days, it would be fine. A crimson streak of blood trickled down Hanju's forehead, yet he seemed oblivious to the pain. His expression remained calm and detached. He wondered silently, compared to before, how much stronger is the curse now that I've leveled up? Don't waste the blood. At that moment, the system's notification suddenly appeared. Your enemy Danqing has been struck by the 3 declines of heaven and man, his Tao cultivation weakened. Your friend Ji Xianshan has suffered heavenly soldier ambushes 102,006 times. Your friend Ma Fuqiu has returned to the mortal realm. Your disciple Feng Liang, while cultivating, entered an ancient dream. His Tao cultivation greatly increased. Your Tao companion Xinghong Qian has suffered beast attacks 124 times. Your Tao companion Xing Hong Qian has encountered a fortuitous opportunity. Her cultivation has increased. Your friend Long Shan has suffered demon attacks 230,584 times. Your friend Jufan has obtained a dragon bone. His body transformed. Seeing this, Hanju couldn't help but sigh. Oh! Since the misfortune scripture has leveled up, its effects aren't bad at all. TSK, TSK, TSK. Then he sneered coldly. If my cultivation rises another realm, perhaps I could directly curse Danqing to death. The time has come. I must reach the true immortal realm as soon as possible. Ha ha! Seasons passed, countless years slipping away within the mountains. Hanju's disciples laughed and joked merrily. The black-held chicken stared curiously at the gourd before him. I wonder when this gourd will sprout a child? Wu Daojian, holding a watering pot, smiled brightly. According to Master's story, the pale red gourd will fall to the ground first. When that happens, none of you can snatch it from me. I've tended it the longest. I want to be the great-grandfather. Tulinger crossed her arms and giggled. Aren't you afraid of being carried away by the snake spirit? Being the great-grandfather should be left to me instead. Wu Daojian trembled with anger, snapping back fiercely. With Dumpling Head here, let's see what snake spirit dares to act unruly. She then turned and shouted at Dumpling Head, don't you agree? Expressionless, Dumpling Head replied, it's merely a little demon, not worth fearing. But as for this so-called snake spirit, since it comes from Master's mouth, what if it is actually a celestial snake immortal from the heavens? Hearing that, everyone present fell silent, their spirits sinking. Tulinger stammered, well, actually, I think being great-grandfather isn't all that fun. I'll reluctantly give it to you. I have some doubts in cultivation, I'd better ask Master. The black-held chicken broke into a cold sweat, quickly excusing himself. My brothers and I still need to water the Fusung tree. I won't compete with you for now. Dumpling Head suddenly sprouted a few extra heads, scratching himself awkwardly. Aya! Too many heads. I forgot to wash one of them. I'll go wash it now. Just then, Chu Shirin spoke up. Even so, if the snake spirit is immersed in cultivation, it won't pay attention to the gourd. At that moment, Hanju walked out of his cave abode. Seeing him, Tulinger immediately brightened and skipped forward. Master! Lately this disciple has had some doubts in cultivation. Could you guide me a little? She asked sweetly, trying to act cute. Hanju's eyes narrowed in anger. Cultivation depends on oneself. You haven't even encountered a real bottleneck yet. Without hesitation, he flicked her away with his massive nose and scolded loudly. If you keep slacking off, you'll soon be surpassed by your junior, Chu Shirin. Indeed, while Tulinger was only at body integration 7th level, Chu Shirin had already reached void amalgamation, 8th level. Catching up quickly, Chu Shirin pressed his hands together respectfully. Grandmaster, this disciple has resolved to cultivate diligently. You may rest assured. Hanju, adjusting his nose with one hand, responded casually, Is that so? I've noticed. For years now you've ceased cultivating. Do you harbor doubts in your heart? Or are you trying to persuade me to give up cultivation as well? Chu Shirin panicked and shook his head rapidly. No, no, no. Not far away, the wind rustled through the leaves, carrying the faint sound of Chu Shirin's voice across the air. Grandmaster, you have already become an immortal. Naturally, this disciple has no right to ask about the Tao. I merely wish that you would speak out and persuade the sentient beings of the world to abandon cultivation. Hanju was silent for a moment before replying, Chu Shirin, follow me. He gazed at the vast blue sky ahead, then continued, The aspiration of your master is not to make the sentient beings of the world abandon cultivation. Tell me, do you believe that people live for themselves, or for others? Without hesitation, Chu Shirin answered, Of course, they live for themselves. That is precisely why I asked you to speak out. Persuading all beings to abandon cultivation, treating all as equals, this is the meaning of my life. Hanju walked ahead through a field of golden rice, repeating softly, Equality of all beings. Equality of all beings. By your reasoning, so long as it lives, it is equal. Following close behind, Chu Shirin affirmed, That is correct. Hanju suddenly asked, Then livestock that you raise, whose blood and flesh you consume, whose skins you wear, are they equal? Chu Shirin quickly replied, They are not equal. Then tell me, Hanju pressed, what do you eat? Grain and crops, Chu Shirin said calmly. Hanju brushed his hand over the ripened rice stalks. And you think straw and grain are not living? Are the seeds of rice not lives of their own? Chu Shirin, self-assured, answered, Grain has no 3 souls or 6 spirits, it does not enter the cycle of reincarnation, thus it is not considered life. Hanju's eyes sharpened. Look more carefully. Raising his palm, a dazzling golden light erupted from his hand, a feat only possible for one who had become an immortal. Chu Shirin's eyes widened in disbelief. This is... All around Hanju, countless golden specks of light appeared, drifting and shimmering. Hanju spoke calmly, These are fragments of true spirit, essence that no origin can erase. Even the stalk of rice, or the tiniest insect invisible to the naked eye, everything born into existence possesses a true spirit. Then Hanju clenched his fist. His spiritual power surged, and the golden specks shattered, falling into the 6 paths of reincarnation below. His voice echoed across the heavens, Where there is life, there will be death. Death is not the end, but the beginning of something new. And indeed, just as he said, every fragment of true spirit he had destroyed was immediately drawn into the endless wheel of reincarnation. Watching the cycle turn, Hanju continued, Only with true spirit can there be reincarnation, only then can there be a next life. Chu Shirin stared, dumbfounded. His lips trembled. This. Hanju cut him off. All things in the world, every blade of grass, every tree, are lives. Do you know why rebirth divides into so many different forms? Hesitant, Chu Shirin answered, Is it the destined merit and virtue of each being? Hanju thought of creatures scavenging for scraps in the filth, and said coldly, Those who do evil will not reincarnate into a good life. The diligent, the kind, even if they struggle now, their next life may be rich and noble. This is the true equality of all beings. He fixed Chu Shirin with a sharp gaze. You are trapped in the prison of your own knowledge and perception without even realizing it. To make others abandon something, you must go to the very end of that path, and see its true nature. Only then can your Tao heart be firm enough to convince others. If you have never smelled the fragrance of a flower, how can you say that flowers have no scent? Hearing this, Chu Shirin lowered his head in silence. In his heart, something seemed to shatter. The next moment, he suddenly bowed deeply to Hanju and said with reverence, "Disciple has been enlightened." Hanju looked at him and said, "Cultivate diligently." Just then, the system prompt rang in his mind, Chu Shirin, current favorability, 4 stars. Hearing this, Hanju was secretly pleased. So, my efforts were not in vain. But the system was not finished. Detected congenital child of fate. Would you like to investigate its origins? Startled, Hanju quickly opened the display. The panel revealed, Jumingyue, Golden Core Stage 2. Reincarnation of the Heavenly Supreme Saint of the Demon Clan in the Upper Realm. Master, Bodhi Patriarch, one of the 5 great Buddhas of the Buddhist sect. Refused to obey heaven's decree, rebelled against the heavenly court, and was suppressed by the Heavenly Emperor's supreme divine power. Mortal body destroyed, soul cast into the cycle of reincarnation. Rumor has it that he sought refuge with the Yuqing sacred sect. Hanju's heart trembled. Heavenly Supreme Saint? Bull Demon King? No. Master is Bodhi Patriarch, and he once stirred chaos in heaven itself. Isn't this Sun Wukong? So many great figures reincarnated. And they've come right to my doorstep, his mind raced. There's something wrong, absolutely something wrong. This must be a great conspiracy waiting to fall upon me. I need to ask Mangpa about this. Deep within the netherworld, Mangpa rubbed her blushing face shyly and muttered, "Little friend. You've already entered the heavenly court, and you still come seeking this old lady?" Hanju bled from his eyes at the sight before him, but still cupped his hands respectfully. "Greetings, senior. May I ask if you have been well?" Mangpa sighed, "These days I am terribly busy. At least 1,000,000,000,000 souls come here to reincarnate." Hanju was shocked. "A trillion? Everywhere in the netherworld?" Countless motes of soullight floated about. Mangpa said calmly, "Even the tiniest germs live and die in an instant. Their merits are insufficient, so they continue to cycle endlessly within this realm. If not for you, little friend, they wouldn't have so easily entered the cycle of reincarnation. From now on, don't go causing trouble for this old woman anymore." As she finished speaking, the old crone poked her long nose toward Hanju's face. Remembering the mess he had just caused, Hanju gave an awkward cough, ahem, and said sheepishly, "I've learned my lesson. It was merely my carelessness while teaching my disciples. I will certainly be more careful in the future." Mangpa could only sigh helplessly. She said, "Forget it. Those disciples of yours all had great foundations in their previous lives. They should indeed be properly instructed." Nearby, the souls Hanju had guided were still queuing up, waiting for their turn to step into reincarnation. Not wanting to drag things out, Hanju went straight to the point. "Since Senior already knows my disciples, then may I ask, why have so many powerful beings reincarnated beside me?" "So many?" Mangpa repeated in surprise. Scooping up a ladle of her soup, she said casually, "In the upper world, mighty ones are as numerous as cattle hair. Every day, who knows how many perish, and who knows how many return from reincarnation." Still ladling her soup, she continued indifferently, "As for the figures of great fortune attracted to the Crimson Cloud world, even among them there are several immortal emperors. In truth, that is already considered few." Hanju was startled. "Considered few? What do you mean by that?" Mangpa explained, "Until now, Crimson Cloud world has only had a handful of immortal emperors reincarnate. As for beings far beyond immortal emperors, there has only been one." Hanju thought silently, "That one must be Chu Shirin. It seems I really cannot use the perspective of the mortal realm to measure the immortal realm. Who knows if the immortal realm is vaster than all mortal realms combined?" At that moment, Mangpa suddenly extended the ladle of soup before him, interrupting his thoughts. She said, "Nearly 300 years ago, a mortal world once witnessed the reincarnation of a grand golden immortal." Within the ladle, that scene reappeared vividly, and Mangpo's voice echoed in Hanju's ears, the fortune of the entire world soared. All living beings shared in the blessings brought by the grand golden immortal. As the saying goes, when a grand golden immortal attains the Tao, the entire world prospers. She spoke casually, even a grand golden immortal reincarnates. So what is a mere immortal emperor in comparison? Seeing the vision, cold sweat beaded on Hanju's forehead. He thought to himself, grand golden immortal? That's a realm I've never even heard of. Could it be that in the upper world, golden immortals are as common as dogs, true immortals fill the streets, and I'm nothing more than a frog at the bottom of a well? Mangpa stirred the steaming pot of soup and waved her hand in dismissal. If you came merely to ask about the reincarnation of great beings, then leave. When you've managed to take a grand golden immortal as your disciple, then come back and see me. Hanju scratched his head in embarrassment. This junior's knowledge is shallow. I've troubled senior. Just then, Mangpa suddenly called out, wait a moment. She narrowed her eyes at Hanju's departing figure. If Tu Linger reaches the Great Ascension realm, do not let her enter the heavenly court. Hanju frowned in confusion. Senior means not allow Tu Linger to ascend? Mangpa nodded. Yes. With her aptitude, she will certainly be chosen by the heavenly court. But I have my own arrangements for her. Just remember this. Hanju replied firmly, understood. Then this junior will take his leave. He turned his gaze to the long line of souls and his face darkened. But there are so many souls here. Surely Crimson Cloud World doesn't have such numbers? Mangpa shook her head. No. These come from 10 different mortal worlds, all destroyed at the decree of the heavenly court. Her words echoed in Hanju's ears. Those 10 mortal worlds did not produce a prodigy like you. Thus, they have all been reduced to ashes. Hearing this, Hanju's expression changed drastically. His eyes widened in shock, as though he couldn't believe his own ears.